Bali mtakala chete bwa. AI takani chete. Please. On working with vulnerable older people, we looked at the communication context. Is that so?
Can you write what you're seeing there? Tinashe, that's in order? You have that? Yeah.
Okay, so last time we were working with vulnerable old people, more especially we went through
Mouse, eh?
may I have a look at where's your Okay, there are three segments which we are supposed to go through. Communication, context, of which I believe we went through it. Did we go through it? The first one, I hope so.
Excel.
So today we'll be looking at verbal and non-verbal communication. Verbal and non-verbal communication before we go to the last one, which is communication challenges. But let us first of all look at the second one, verbal and non-verbal communication. Verbal and non-verbal communication. So on verbal and non-verbal communication, they are saying,
but you're just quiet.
Our main aim is to look for effective communication.
You would have said that
we are looking at
can you expand it?
Effective communication.
You should have said
so for you social workers to have effective communication, when we are looking at both verbal and non-verbal communication, there are some roles which you'll be aiming at getting them when you want to communicate with these vulnerable people. The vulnerable people here, we'll take examples of the older people.
What?
Nkalamba or Akulaku, Magogo, the Gogos and the like. These people, when you want to talk to them, sometimes we talk to them, we'll communicate to them verbally.
How many were able to see?
Or non-verbally.
Huh?
So, on verbal communication, what kind of language are we supposed to use when we are talking to them? This one, we'll look at the clear language. Clear language. On clear language, that is to say, there is need for use.
And then
use of simple language to avoid confusing them. Simple language to avoid confusing them. Use simple language. Why you want to use simple language? The answer is you don't want to confuse them.
Right, so we are
you don't want to confuse them, or you don't want, or you are avoiding confusing the
You had written it,
vulnerable.
I created it on the desktop. Right?
At the same time, when you are communicating with them, I've said vulnerable. No. If you got me right, I said examples of vulnerable people. Can you give me examples of vulnerable people? Refugees are vulnerable, yes.
No, my question is, at first you say verbal communication with other people.
Tizivese sana kutika malango. Zilipakosa outline yangu zimenezi. Zomundu kula nkula pozi yokosa outline.
My question
I got you.
I
got you. Yeah, I got you. So above to wende remote. Wende remote. So example of vulnerable.
Leave it like that.
That example of vulnerable. That older people.
Electricity.
Refugees. There are a lot. Those people who are vulnerable. There are quite a lot of them. So, let us have a look at those people. Clear language. Clear language is needed. And this is use of simple language. Why are you using simple language? You use simple language simply because you're trying to avoid confusion or confusing them. The second one is active listening. Active listening. Who is supposed to do this? To be an active listener? Service provider. Active listening. That is to say, pay attention when you're talking or you're communicating with them. Pay attention. Pay attention to what they say.
I guess we are all at the same page.
You need to pay attention to what they are saying. And if you don't get them correctly, what they are saying, please ask for clarification. You need to ask clarifying questions. ask clarifying questions, and restate to ensure understanding. You need to make sure
So
that
each time
you
you are writing,
do understand them
okay, in the
whilst they are
cells,
communicating.
should you find yourself in a situation
Again,
by the words
you are supposed to
cell,
practice
then what you have to do
empathy
is to expand that
and
cell.
validation.
How do
Empathy
you do that?
and validation.
You move
Show
the
that
cursor
you are understanding
to the
them,
divider
the way how they are
between A
feeling,
and B
or the
quadrant.
way how they are understanding you.
A and B.
Be in their shoe.
Cursor would
So understand and acknowledge their
cross
feelings. You need to
a
understand their
double-sided
feelings.
arrow.
How do they feel?
Okay. Meaning
You'll be in
that
a
it's
position
ready
to
for
know
selection.
how they are
Right.
feeling. Every
Then
face
you
tells a story.
left-click your
You will know.
mouse. Left-click your mouse.
Use
You have selected that, is it?
calm tone.
And then you drag
Use
it
calm
to where you deem
tone.
fit. For example, just
Who can
after
explain to
expenses.
us
And
calm
then you
tone?
release the
A
button.
good example of a calm tone? Yes.
Let me start
That is to
again.
say, speak. Speak
Right?
in a
Put
calm,
it on the divider
gentle
between A and
tone to
B.
create a safe environment.
Okay. It will be
Definitely
a
by doing
cross. It
that,
will be
you are
just a
creating
cross,
a
as the case
safe
said. But the
environment.
moment you move it towards the
Because
divider,
the way how it's going to respond
the
to
cursor will
you,
change
it
it.
will also be in a calm tone.
Once it's there,
If you are
can
harshly
you
speaking, the response you get will
left
also
click
be
your mouse
harsh. So try as much as you can to
without doing anything, just left
use
click it.
calm tone. By doing that, it means you understand, or you create a safe environment. And you're also supposed to do what? To avoid jargon. Jargon, that's Jargon.
This is your
Jargon.
case, right? It's a cross.
Jargon.
So what I
Refrain from
say
using
is
technical
move
terms.
it between the
Don't use
divider
technical
of
terms.
A and B. Where is the divide of A and B? Just put it out there.
Jargon.
Right? Yet it will
Matems ena amene umayuza. Let's say
here.
you are talking about the things which they don't know. You will not kapita ku school. You abbreviate those terms sometimes.
Where you want it to be. And then you release.
Those exactly. Dausi. Zimene amalankhula zicho. Those most of the time, no, that's not English.
Yeah, it's there.
That is just in Latin.
Move.
Those are Latin.
Move, release.
You see? Kapena so
Control A. I mean control C.
mafimu ama Nigerians banali wina wa Jesu
C.
ama kondo wa this article chronology
Without releasing control.
you see.
Then press
So avoid using technical
control C.
jargons.
Control V.
Avoid jargons. That's, you need to run away from using or refrain from using technical terms or complex concepts. Avoid that. You need to avoid that. That's only verbal.
So we have
Verbal. It means you're uttering words. You're uttering words.
started creating our database.
Now, what about on non-verbal communication? You don't produce words. You don't produce words.
Now,
What kind of
add
communication can this be when you're communicating
title
using non-verbal communication?
to our
It means body language. We are talking about body language.
this
Maintain open or approachable
2024
posture.
income, but we can say 2024 budget.
By body language, that is to say,
Or
you are maintaining open
2024.
as well as approachable
Expenses,
posture, like uncross
Right, so we want
arms.
to add a title
You are using uncross arms.
above
Sometimes you lean
where
forward.
there are our descriptors, where you have
Lean
expenses, January, February, March, April.
Body language.
Sure,
You know, your body can speak a
I
lot.
want to add a title above
Gestures and the like.
January, March,
Yes, that's it.
I want to add a column.
Sometimes even your facial
What
expression
to say.
can also speak a lot.
What do we do?
Facial expression can speak a lot. Do you know that?
So that I put
On verbal,
where
non-verbal
case
communication, there is also eye contact. Eye contact.
where?
When you're speaking to somebody, it's better to look direct into his or her eyes.
Where should the position of my cursor be for that?
That's what I do when I speak to you.
Should it be
I look
here
at
where
you.
it is?
Not today. What's that?
Okay, so what I'm going
Look at
to do
me.
is
When you're talking
the
to me,
cursor
look at me.
has to be at a position
Yes.
where I want
Eye
next
contact.
row to be.
You know, you can
In
see
this case, I'll put it
the
as
real
one here.
person when you are talking
number
and
one.
looking direct into his
It
or
has
her
highlighted row number 1,
eyes.
isn't it?
So establish
So I want
gentle,
to
respectful
insert a
eye
row
contact.
above it.
Respectful.
So what I'll
eye
do
contact.
is
What's that
I'll
mean?
now right click
You're talking to somebody.
the mouse.
What's that?
Okay, a drop down menu will appear. Okay,
Come on.
and then
Ukulangula ndagogo. Are you
I
sure?
click
Agogo.
set.
Kungoti enafe. What's
Are we
that?
all there? All right. Then if we're all
Okay.
there,
On non-verbal communication, another one is eye contact.
24.
Express. I mean facial expression.
name should
Facial. Eye contact nani nagale?
2024
But facial.
budget expense.
Facial. What face? Facial expression. Facial expression. Facial
Expenses, eh?
expression
Eh,
or expressions. You need to display what? When you're talking to
you got
the vulnerable, you need to express what? When you're talking to the vulnerable, show that you're feeling. The way how they feel, you should also feel the same. Show your face should do what? Should be show. That's display empathetic. You need to display that empathetic, non-judgmental facial expression.
Yes, she might not be so because it highlights. Then did you right click
Yes.
in a Zotekaba?
Even I am
Okay. Can you try it again? Put it on row number 1, click it,
Yes,
then right
that's
click,
it.
right click this
It
one.
should be.
No.
You need to display empathetic
Kama gwira mouse is color jonjet.
as well as non-judgmental
So when you move it here,
facial
say right click uzingo back.
cues. Are we together?
Okay. Put it
Yeah,
there.
because you are communicating to somebody who is vulnerable. So you need to look,
Set.
to feel the way how he or she feels.
Down there,
like.
down there,
Are we together? And another point is when you are communicating using this kind of
And
mode of communication, the non-verbal one,
so the
use
mouse,
touch.
The mouse has
Touch.
2 buttons.
It's non-verbal, right?
Select show
We don't
button.
utter
The
words.
other one is for
So touch is another way.
menu.
So on touch,
Selecting it.
that is to say you are using gentle or
here.
appropriate
You select. That's
feeling
selected.
by touching. So use gentle, appropriate
Press
touch.
right up.
That's hand, sometimes on
And set.
a shoulder.
Abwere.
That's a good example. Hand on a shoulder or shoulders with consent. Because don't touch somebody without his or her consent. Can you do that? No, he hasn't allowed you to touch him or her. You just stretch your hand on a shoulder without asking for a consent. That's offside. That's offside. That's dangerous. Oh, you think so?
Title chapter.
Okay.
But the way it is, it's not.
On non-verbal communication, again, there is this one which is
At least it has
proximity.
to cover the full length.
Proximity. Proximity,
database.
P-R-O-X-I-M-I-T-Y.
It's centered on the meeting. How we do that,
That's proximity.
and if you can see it,
By proximity, this one simply means
starting on A1,
you are trying to
but you can
respect
see
a
it's
person,
spilling
respect
over
personal space.
to it. If
You need to respect personal space by either sitting or standing
so what do
at
we do?
a comfortable
We have to
distance.
merge.
You need to respect that
Okay,
proximity.
we have to merge the cells. So
You need
to
to
merge the
respect
cells,
that.
you have to
If you are
select
standing,
where you want to be.
then you need to observe
So
distance.
we'll select A1
At
here
the same time, if you are sitting,
A1.
you also need to respect
and then press
that as
shift
well.
without
Yes, there must be a boundary in between
releasing
you
it.
people.
Just press shift
You need to create space.
and then press
Don't be
the
closer to
right
him or her.
arrow.
To that particular, we're talking about
Once again,
a vulnerable person.
once
When you're
again,
communicating,
until we reach
communicating
April,
to him or with him,
like
right?
this.
You need to
Otherwise,
respect
you are
that.
highlighting this section. Have you done that?
Again, on non-verbal
What I
communication,
said is, first of all,
you are also
select
looking,
A1
or you need
here,
to observe this
where you started.
cultural sensitivity.
Have you selected?
Cultural sensitivity.
Have you? Can you
Please
press shift?
take note of this.
Don't shift it.
Cultures are not the same.
Then can you press the right arrow?
Bear that in mind.
Once.
When you're communicating, you need to put this into
Camera
consideration. Be mindful of cultural differences. Don't ignore that.
Press
Your
it
culture
again,
probably
it's on C
allows you
without
to
releasing
do whatever
shift.
you can do to a person
Press it again, it's on D,
whom you share
and then
culture
press it again.
or
it's on
same
F.
cultures. Are we together?
Are we all there?
If you don't share same cultures, be mindful of this.
Let
Otherwise,
me know if you are
you'll
having
be disappointed. Otherwise, you'll be
done?
disappointed.
Oh.
And again, when you are talking to
Put the case
these
on
people,
A1
the so-called vulnerable
and
people,
then press shift.
be patient. Be patient when you're talking
Shift
to them.
T,
Be patient
just
and
hold on
flexible.
it without
You
releasing,
need to
just
be patient.
press it. At the same time, can you start pressing the right arrow?
You need to be patient at the
Kamozi,
same time
Kamozi,
flexible.
Kamozi.
Sometimes in this kind of communication, you're supposed to use visual aids.
Yeah.
What are visual aids? Visual aids. Examples of visual aids. Use visual aids. What are visual aids? Examples of visual aids.
Select A1, A1 and D. Okay.
Who can share with us?
Shift into uyu. Just press hold on it. Hold it. Then press the right arrow. Kamozi. Kena woso. Kena woso. Kena woso. Leave it there. Okay.
Take for instance, if you are communicating to or with a person who is blind.
Don't do anything with the mouse. Okay, can you press? Yeah, press shift.
You can use braille, yes. You can use braille.
Right arrow.
Use braille sometimes when you're talking to them.
All right, so that's how you select items.
So use a braille
Use
when you're talking to, or sometimes when you're teaching or lecturing a group of those people
and then we'll be
who are blind.
That's later on it.
Use
so we have selected our area
such as a braille
where we want to merge the cells.
Again, avoid interrupting or finishing their
merge
sentences.
All these cells
Leave
that we
them.
have selected into one thing.
Let them speak what they want to speak.
You know what to merge, is it?
What they're telling you, please leave them up to the end of their sentences. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt or finish on their behalf what they want to tell you or to speak to
if
you.
you're a Christian, it tells us that
again, you need to show respect and dignity.
You have merged it.
You need to dignify them. They are human beings, just like you are.
Are you married?
So you need to dignify them.
All right.
Respect them, dignify
You go
them.
on the ribbon.
You need to show respect.
Look where there is alignment.
So by being mindful of both verbal and non-verbal communication,
At the very top, you have
I earlier on said, we're talking about verbal, at the same time,
Above
We are also
aligned
looking
with
at the
it says
non-verbal
major and
communication. You can create a space.
Can you click on that one?
You need to create a
Or without
space
clicking,
and
by
also
just putting the mouse
supportive
there,
environment
will give you what is called
for
a
such
tooltip.
kind of
A
people
tooltip
who
is
are
just a text
identified
that
or known
outlines
as
what
the
that button
vulnerable
is used for.
individuals.
Combine and center the contents of the
I was
selected cells
summarizing
in
up,
a new
I was
larger
summing
cell.
up.
This is a great way to create a label that spans
Come
multiple
again?
columns.
You are lost.
Okay? That's a tool.
Yes, when
Tells
you are
you what that
communicating with
button
them.
is used for.
I was,
Now, can you click on it, merge and center? What has
can I
happened?
continue? Yeah, so on both verbal and non-verbal communication,
The cells have
you are
merged.
supposed to create
And what is the address
a
now?
safe environment or
What is the address
space.
of that cell?
You need to be also
Where do you get the address?
support mindful.
Tinashe,
That is to say,
where do you get the address for
when you
that
are
cell?
talking to such kind of people, you need to
Here.
remember all these things which I've just
Okay.
told you.
Anywhere
By
you
doing that,
place,
it
the
means
address
you
will
are
correspond
respecting
here.
them, you are also
Mind you,
dignifying them.
the addresses
I don't
are very
know
important,
if you have
especially when you start
any
now,
question on that one.
want to put formulas or you want to analyze your data. Okay? The address play a very crucial role. All right, so we have merged our cells. Previously, we had A1, B1,
What are you saying?
C1, D1, and E1. But then now we have merged them to become A1. All right. Now, can we put values of the expenses for each month?
Okay. Let us look at the challenges
January training,
that can be faced when you are
100,000.
communicating with vulnerable old people.
Office supplies, 200,000.
Challenges
Computer
someone can
expenses,
face
300,000.
when he or she is communicating with the vulnerable
Electricity,
older people. You know, when you are talking to older people,
56,000.
because of age, sometimes
Paying 26,000.
their hearing is not all that good.
Printing,
Their hearing, and even not hearing alone, at the same time, even visual. Their visual perception is also
400,000.
encountering some problems. Somehow necessary no bwino
Can you
komanso
enter
ndawi
those
zina
values?
sama mva buno bwino chifukwa age, because of age. So some common difficulties could be hearing or visual impairment. So you need to adapt communication methods like speak clearly, because you've known that when it comes to hearing, they encounter some problems. They don't listen clearly. As such, you need to speak clearly. At the same time, when it comes to seeing, they also encounter some problems. So by doing that, you need to use visual aids. These ones will let them be in a position to see, either see clearly or hear clearly. At the same time, they do have cognitive impairments. They do have cognitive impairments. So if you've known they have cognitive impairment, what are you supposed, how are you supposed to talk? How are you supposed to talk to them? You need to use simple language, because perception of things to them is a bit a problem. So you need to use simple language. Avoid complex or jargon, technical jargons. Don't use complex concepts. They have separated here, they are talking about such kind of people, vulnerable old people, their memory is kind of like it's lost. Memory
Right.
loss.
So
They
what do you
have
think is
memory
missing there?
Loss.
So
Memory
that you don't
loss.
believe someone gets
So
it.
use
Is that a 30,000? Is that 300,000?
or
Is that
reminders,
3 million?
use reminders or
What is
repetitions
missing there?
and even validation. Or we have memory here.
We're doing mathematics, you people.
Use reminders
What
or
I'm saying is,
repetitions
if we are to present that
Repetitions
data, let's say we
and
print it, we
validation.
give it to someone. Someone can easily
Sometimes
miscalculate.
these people do have
For example, where there's 20,000,
speech or language disorders.
either 2,000
They
or
use
200,000.
Speech or
Okay.
language
Or can
disorders.
read it as 20,000. There is that
So
possibility.
in such
So to
cases, what
avoid
are you
that
supposed to do?
misinterpretation,
If they have
what do you
speech
think is
disorders or language disorders, use alternative communication like pictures or gestures. You
decimal,
need to use gestures sometimes.
yeah, a decimal place and the comma, right? That's what is missing.
You know.
Okay. In other words,
If you have known that sometimes they have speech or language
where
disorders,
that what we're inputting there is not just a
you are
general
talking to them,
input. Okay.
but they are encountering some problems. You
Supposed
can
to
use
have a
even
format of
gestures.
either a number or a currency. Okay. So what you do is, can you highlight from
And
100,000
again,
all the way up
these
to
people
Same
have
method I told
emotional
you for
vulnerabilities. They have emotional vulnerabilities. They are very
your case
emotional.
at 100,000, place
Munaona hapo
shift,
utakula kulu kawili
then
kawili
the
amaka very
arrow,
emotional.
move it down up to printing.
They are very emotional. Amoneka anthu ake ngati ndamakani osamva. So how are you supposed to behave yourself? Show empathy. Feel the way how they are feeling. You need to be patient as well. Understand them.
Done? Okay. Then thereafter,
Another point, you need to establish trust or use
after
gentle
alignment, you see where
approaches.
there's number.
Establish
Okay.
trust.
So there are two ways how you can
Establish
go about it.
trust.
You can use the shortcuts which are there. Just for
And you are
example,
supposed to use gentle
can you place
approaches.
comma?
When you're
here?
approaching them, be gentle.
At least there's clarity now, right?
These
You can
people
actually see
have
now that that's 100,000
physical limitations.
without making a mistake, right?
They have physical
Assuming you want to
limitations.
add more decimal,
That is to say,
okay?
if you have identified that they have physical
By default, it comes
problems,
with only 2 decimal places, okay?
when it comes
Those
to
are
the way how
Tambalas, it.
they are sitting,
If it's dollars,
they have those
cents, it.
challenges physically.
So here you can
Sometimes you are
either
supposed to give them
decrease or
support.
increase the
Offer
decimal
support.
places. Can you place
Offer
the
support.
decreased decimal places just once?
If they feel like they are failing to
Here.
go on long
What
distances,
has happened?
please, if there is need for use of wheelchairs, more especially to those people who are a bit disabled, give them
One
wheelchairs
decimal place. That
if
is
there is
there.
that accessibility.
Okay. If I
Yeah,
place
you can do
again,
that as well, no problem.
there are no decimal places.
No problem, you
there.
can use that method as well.
Okay.
It means you care
I
a lot
want
for
to
them.
increase the decimal places.
Yeah, so use that.
I can press the increase button. Okay. But for now, let's
Now,
assume
my
we
question
don't
could be,
want the decimal.
how can you overcome such kind of problems, the problems or the challenges we have just mentioned?
So here,
How
instead
can
of
you
general,
overcome or how can you
it
deal
has
with
turned
such kind of problems?
custom.
All those, one by one.
Okay. Assuming
I've given you all
that
those
to be a
challenges,
currency,
right?
okay.
How can you deal with
do
those
is
challenges?
You press here where there's a drop-down menu on custom. That's the number formatted. All right. Then can you
Then you're supposed
move
to
down
tell
where it says more number formats?
I'm telling you. You just did give me obvious.
Chabun, thank you very much. Wanije pesira nchito yanga. Now, let us have a look at, I wanted to.
So you have this box set where you can select, for example, want this to be currency. Okay. Have you selected currency? Then on symbol, what is yours showing? None yet. Can you select the drop down menu? And then there are several currencies that you can find there for different countries. But can you put the pound sign? The first one which is appearing. And those decimal places you are seeing, you can actually put the number here.
Please, you are making
the
noise.
Places that you want to appear, but leave it at 0.
You have helped Agogo. Okay, I wanted to add some few points on a thing which we did discuss some time back. How can someone work with families and groups? I missed some points there. I wanted you to get well what I wanted to add on to. I'm talking about communicating with families and groups. You can go there on the introduction. Can you see there?
Yes.
Communicating with the families. You know, sometimes you'll be dealing with the people or service users who have families, who are connected to families. Remember, not all service users will be having families. Some of them, they'll be staying alone. Muzi kumana ndi ani mavuto akubwera kwa inu alibe mbali.
If you don't understand, don't.
Most others, they have families. So communicating with families, communicating with families.
Software. Okay. And then press OK.
How can someone work with families?
You can see that
or groups. So working with families and groups needs or requires effective communication.
Has a symbol at the beginning, right?
Families. If you are dealing with families or groups,
it has a pound.
It means
you can change it to
you need
you want them to be in dollars.
Effective communication.
Okay, you go
at the same time, apart from effective communication, you also need empathy and
you change them.
Facilitation skills. You need skills, because if you are talking or handling or you are communicating with a group, it means it requires a lot.
So either
it's not all that easy.
Just go
now,
back to that menu,
family.
Press none on the
a family is the basic institution in a community.
Undo the changes. How do we undo the changes?
It's a basic. You can see there. is the basic institution
who is rolling
in
bucket
a community, is a small unit
Zipporah,
in a community. A small unit
What-
in a community.
what
Take
is
for
the
instance,
shortcut for doing
Area 15
or the
is a community. We have got houses. These houses, they are families.
Nash?
So it's a small unit,
How do you
basic
changes?
institutions in a community. Now, it is the primary
To
group
changes,
in which members
either you
are born
press control
in a family. Members are born. If you are 10 of you
or you
or
can
15 of you,
press this
so it means that is a family.
um
People are born there. They are being brought up there.
the left arrow to your left
They are trained there. They socialize there.
to do the changes.
As well as they have roles to perform. They have roles to perform or functions
Doing
to
the
perform
changes.
in either in your house or beyond your house, which is
Place
a society.
out here. Can you place it? Redo the one which is curved to the right now. Zabwelele? The shortcut for undoing the changes is Control Z. Can you press Control then Z? Control without using press Z. Zabwelele? Take note of this set. But he mentioned, so which is which here? You are in an exam, eh? Okay. I remember there was a previous class, I had just brought out all the shortcuts that I had taught them. Okay. You find that only a few got them right. So please, the aim is to make your life easier when you're using this software, you don't have to be using the long ways. Use shortcuts.
Okay. So when you are talking to the family,
So
you need to be
undoing
mindful
changes,
that there are
what you
some
press,
problems which members of the
Control
family
Z.
can face,
Redoing the
can
changes,
encounter. There are
you press
problems
Control
which
Y.
members of the family
Can
can
you try
encounter
Control
or
Y?
can face. So the problems faced by, more especially children in
Have
the
the
family system. Before we
undo again,
go down there,
because
I want to ask
have nothing there.
you to tell me or to identify some of the problems which a family can face, more especially when you're dealing with the children.
All right.
Problems faced by children in the family system. Huh? Fear. Abuse.
Right. Now can we light the second set of values?
Okay, fine. Problems faced by children
Start here
in the
with
family systems.
500.
Is it true that children do face with problems in the family?
Yes.
You are failing to tell me which problems do they face.
Then 200.
Okay, some parents are overly protective and overly indulgent with their children. They're very protective.
No.
It's very dangerous.
Some changes.
Second one, to be very protective,
100,000.
overprotective. So such children get tied down with their parents and lose their individuality.
160,000.
So is that a problem? Is that a problem? If they are overprotective.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's
It's like they don't have freedom to do whatever they want.
Then copying
But see us.
160,000. Printing 300,000.
And if you're overprotective, sometimes one of the problems that if you want to go out,
Okay, so at times we don't want that each time we are putting
Okay, listen to this one. Now listen to this one.
we are inputting
In,
these we should be
in
changing
contrast
settings.
to what
Okay, so what you do is you can
you've
just
just
select
said,
an area where
few
you
parents are indifferent
making,
to their children. What do?
inputting
They may
these
neglect
values.
them.
For example,
Is it a
I'll
problem?
select from
They
100,000
may neglect them
which is B3.
or may even reject them.
Then
Is
I
it a
use
problem?
shift, select
What's
up to
the disadvantage
April
of that?
without releasing
If your
button,
parents
then
reject
you
you
can place the down
or
arrow
they neglect you,
up to printing like this.
you
First
become
of
like
all,
you become like
where there's
strangers.
100,000 on
You
January
become like
there.
strangers. Fine. So that's a problem as well.
Press shift,
Again, some parents verbally
then
abuse
shift
children
your selection
or
to April.
punish them physically.
Are we all there?
Is it still
Then
happening?
shift it down up to printing it. Then release.
Kimberly,
Then go on number here,
we are looking.
press the comma, okay, and then can you remove the
So when parents listen, when parents resort to punish,
like that? So any number that
resort to punishment method,
will have
often
that form.
the children become stubborn and aggressive.
Are we all there?
If you start battling your children, are they going to become stubborn and aggressive? Are you sure?
Did you put the comma?
Again, another problem which children do face in families. They are saying some parents exhibit favoritism. They practice favoritism to one child at the expense of the other. Is it still happening?
Can you move the cursor?
Is it still happening?
Look, you see the comma here. Here.
So if that is the
Above
case,
number,
then
do you
it's
see
very
the
bad.
comma?
If this
From your screen. Pali percentage, then there's comma.
now the other way around, since we are looking at the family. In a family, there are children, at the same time, they are parents, right? Now, problems that can be faced by parents in the family, because we have both parents as well as children. We started looking at problems which children can face in the
Can you
family.
decrease the
Now, I want us to look at the
You know
problems
where-
which parents can face in the family. Which problems can parents face
go
in the
towards your
family?
right? Here. Decrease decimal places. Are you there? The comma, before the comma, what is next?
But
The case there. No. For that.
yeah,
We now put a sentence.
notes. If I'll give you these notes, then you
Yeah.
okay. We should look at the problems. Let us have a look at the problems which parents can face in the
Decimal
family.
places, eh?
We started looking at the problems which children
Tabanga point to your
can
left,
face
right.
in the family or family
Right.
system.
Tabanga kakula
But now
ina-
we want us to look at the problems which parents can
What's
parents
happening?
encounter problems in the family system.
Remove to one decimal place. Eh? Click it again. All of them met. That's how we decrease decimal places.
So do you agree with me
For
that
now, that's how you decrease.
do you agree with me or
places.
not that
Are we
parents
okay?
can face problems in the family?
Yes.
For what? For agreeing
Can
or
we enter for
disagreeing?
match?
Okay.
Now,
What
we
could
don't
be
want
these? The examples of these
get
problems.
our
What could be the
effort.
problems
This is just
your parents can face in the family?
So
You have parents where you're coming from.
highlight.
Sometimes they do face simply because you children are there, then you are causing problems to them.
Like this.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Financial
Let
crisis.
me know when you're done.
What's wrong with the financial crisis?
Done.
Can you explain?
Okay, then can you press Control C?
And plus, when you give them a grandchild, that means you want to expand.
Control C is a shortcut for what?
You're giving them a grandchild.
Copy.
So that is does it mean ukubeleka
When
mwana
you press Control C or when you copy objects there, then it will highlight where you are copying.
Kimberly,
You find
do you agree with that one?
it will be.
You start bearing children whilst you are living with your parents. Why?
Because
Why not go into your husband?
showing that's the area where you have selected it.
Why bring burden to your parents?
Or move the cursor.
Why burdening them?
Match here.
Which husband?
Where are you going to get a child from? So why doing that whilst you're staying with your
Or
parents?
V. You have pasted now, right? Control C, that's copy. Control V, that's
Koma to the extent of kubeleka mwana yusimaziwa kuti somwe tikupanga zitiko zobwesa mwana.
this one works on any platform. Okay, that's a shortcut. Whether you are WhatsApping someone, using Wave, and it's an email, everywhere. Control C, that's
Okay, thank you.
okay. Now, can we also copy the values for February?
Okay, problems faced by parents in the family. One of them, many parents come across children who are disobedient and stubborn. You are disobedient. Sometimes they tell you, please, I don't want you to fall in love with then you disobey. And the result, you bring unnecessary kids in a house. Yes. You need to get prepared. If you know you want to start your own home, then don't do that whilst you're staying with your parents. That's being disobedient.
So we have now put the values.
Okay, so this, you defy the norms, rules, and the guidelines of the family. No wonder you end up bringing those unnecessary children.
Okay, for January up to February. Now,
By doing that, you bring your unnecessary children to them. You are,
okay,
it seems
if
you're like,
present this
your
information,
parents, they do feel hopeless
clearly see with this
because of you.
and for budget
Because of you.
expenses. That title has to be appealing. How do you
Okay, as children enter adolescence, we are looking at another problem. As children
Can you
enter adolescence, many parents experience difficulties in handling them.
A1
True or false? That's
done
very true.
and the font here. And the font here, there is this one B.
You know what happens?
Folded.
Some parents
Can you
are
place it?
unable to cope with the sudden emotion outbursts of their adolescents and teenagers.
First step, what did you do?
Yes.
One video unapanga hiyo. Here, you highlighted it.
They don't fail.
Then you went on
They don't
font.
fail to deal with them. But they don't want to happen to you.
Have you seen B here?
They have experience. The experience which they have,
Above font.
it was bad.
Bubble. Can you click on it? What has happened to your title? It's more thicket, dark and thicket, but still, it still has the
They
font
don't fail to handle.
size
They don't
as the
fail to handle
rest
such
of the
situations.
data that is
They
written there.
don't fail to handle such situations.
Mind you, are saying that the title has been appealing. It should catch the eye of the audience. Right? Now, we change the font size. Mama game, right?
Okay.
Next to it,
You know, some problems which parents also do face in their homes or families, when they have cases of the youth being victims of substance use or abuse,
okay,
and sometimes even immoral sexual behavior, parents are thrown off the guard suddenly. They become disappointed, honestly, when they have such cases. You indulge in substance
Ode
abuse
shumanena.
or abuse or use, and sometimes immoral
Can you do
sexual
Control Z?
behaviors. So parents are
Control
put
Z.
off. Yes.
Control Z. Control Z again.
Why is she crying?
Control Z.
You should ask yourself the moment you become a mother as well. And your children doing that to you. That's when probably you'll be in a position to say you'll be in a position to say, if you be in a position to say I'm dramatic.
Under font ndika box.
Just wait.
Then I said, can you mapanga places?
Eh?
I said under font, can you press B into it? Click on B.
Don't worry, you're going there. Don't worry.
Watch this. Right? When I press B, it has become bolded, thick and bracket. Now above it you have the text.
Okay, listen to this one.
Type again.
Listen to this one. So some children disown their parents in their old age. And it does happen because of various or different reasons, such as poverty.
We want to change the size.
Your parents because they are poor,
on the size there.
because they have strained
16
relationship with in-laws or property disputes.
What happened to your title?
Those are some of the problems. I'm not interested in problems that can happen between husbands and wives in the family.
The title is more appealing there. Comes here first thing to that okay, they're doing budget, yeah, my expenses here 2024. Right. Now, if I print this, okay, the expenses will have about 1,000 expenses. Okay. When I'm printing, it will just print the way it is, but it will be on a plain paper without any margins or borders. So we need to put borders. So
okay. Now let us have a look at intervention methods in social work. Intervention methods in social work. That is social work with individuals in family.
This is attendance sheet.
Social work.
What
are we interested in? We're interested in working with a family. Okay. You as social workers.
For easy identification of
working with a family, you as social workers.
If Kodesh is here,
so when you are working with a family,
Tinashe,
your work,
same thing, Zipporah,
or sometimes,
but if we didn't have,
you may be limited with your interaction
then there are
on one way or the other, especially on the basis with, when you are looking at members of the family themselves.
Yeah, so you put.
So there are certain problems such as
borderlines. If you don't put borderlines,
academic performance,
perhaps
and emotional instances of
borderlines. First of
children,
all, you need to select the area
or other behavior problems,
okay,
parents. So that's your duty as social workers. You are looking at academic problems.
Click on the budget
of children in a family, or in
Okay.
families.
Place shield.
Sometimes parents,
Then the
they
down
are
arrow up.
encountering some challenges with their children. Furthermore, sometimes even behaviors.